What's going on, people? What's going on? Big Rich here, and this is the start of a brand new show. Brand new show. It's What's the Real Deal? I've gotten so many requests and questions from our parent show, Big Rich Live on the Mic, that I decided to do a total different show that is basically a DIY show, do it yourself show, a how to show. Now, I know a lot of people do that. And at first, that's why I really wasn't going to do it at all. I wasn't going to try to do it at all. But I've gotten so many requests. I said, hey, why not? So today, our inaugural show of What's the Real Deal, we will discuss eBay. We will break it down. How do you set up? How do you get the best deals? How do you protect yourself? We'll do that in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big Rich here. Big Rich in the house. Bigger than better than ever. We hoping that we're going to do something really, really good here today. So like I said, welcome to the inaugural show of What's the Real Deal here on the channel. What we said earlier is that we will discuss and we will now talk about eBay. We will break it down from what do you do? How do you even start? What are the pros and what are the cons? We'll break it all down. So first thing what you need to do is you need to find out what the heck eBay is for all people who don't know. And there are people who don't know what eBay is. eBay is a e-commerce site. It is the largest e-commerce site and one of the oldest e-commerce site in the world. You can get anything and almost everything. I'm talking about from toys that are sold out and maybe discontinued all the way to rated X stuff. If that's your type of hustle, you get it. So eBay is the e-commerce. I would even say it is e-commerce, but eBay would be the Walmart of e-commerce. So what you say is, okay, well, how do I get to eBay? Well, you go to www.ebay.com. And on the top right, you can see on the screen right here on the top right, you have a bar. And it says either sign in or sign up. So obviously you would hit the sign up button and you just follow it all the way down. It'll ask you a series of questions. First one, which will be your username. You can put anything you want. I mean, you know, as long as it's not vulgar or anything like that, or as long as it's not taken, you can go ahead on and put that in there. So you put that in there, you set your password up, and then it'll ask you some other questions that will basically mold your profile and mold your eBay account to your own personal views. You know, what you're looking for, what are you trying to find, that type of stuff. It'll ask you for your favorite items. You know, it could be cars, it could be boats, it could be toys, it could be movies, whatever. And then you'll have something like that. And what that does is from this day forward, when you come back to your eBay site and you sign into your profile, it will cater, if you will, cater to your views. So you might see, you know, if you into electronics like me, you'll see phones, you'll see TVs, you'll see any other type of electronic gear, and then you could just pick and choose. But you might say, is that the only thing I do is just randomly pick and choose? No. Once you sign in and get everything situated, you have a search bar. Okay. So what I suggest you do is when you sign in and you get everything together and you confirm your account, then you go to the search bar and you put down what you want. You put down what you're looking for. So if you're looking for a 1978 Porsche 911, then you put it in there and it will list all of the 911s within the certain mile radius that you have told the computer, you have told the site, this is how far I want to go out. You know, some people have unlimited, you know, where they will put stuff that is outside the continent of the United States, you know, in Canada and Japan and China, that type of stuff right there. So basically, this is a one-stop what you needed to do. Now, I've been on eBay since 2007. And when I was starting out at 2007, they used to give you options as far as payment options, and we'll break those down. But now it's pretty much one payment option, which I think is the best. But let's get back to building your profile. Once you build your profile and you confirm your profile, now you have to attach what they call a payment source, which basically right now they exclusively go with PayPal. It's PayPal.com. That is the best thing that they ever could have did, because by partnering with PayPal, they pretty much ensure that you will never be taken. You follow what I'm saying? So what I mean is, okay, let's just say you looking for a camera and you see a camera for a price and you pay for that camera. Well, first of all, the seller does not get access to your money until it is confirmed that the item has arrived, to the purchaser. Okay. I have been both a seller and a buyer, so I understand the intricacies as far as it goes through. So in this case, what it is you don't have to worry about. So if you spending 1,000, 2,000, 500, 200, whatever it is, you can be assured that you won't be scammed. Now, does that mean it will never be fake profiles and stuff like that? No, that doesn't mean that at all. You still can get people who have fake profiles. And when they have fake profiles, you are insured. So what that means is if eBay or PayPal finds out before you, they will notify you, hey, we're putting a freeze on this. We're going to return your money back. This is a fraud. Or if you find out it's a fraud, or let's just say the person sends you something that is not what was described, something that is broken, or they don't send it to you. Let's just say they grab your money, or you think they grab your money. Don't send it to you. I think it's within 7 to 10 days. If you haven't received it, then you could open what they call a case through eBay, and they will get to the bottom of it and give you your money back. So yeah, you have to go through the inconvenience every now and again of waiting a couple of weeks to get your money back, but you're going to get your bread back. So if that's the situation that you are worried about, don't worry about it at all. Don't worry about it at all. But once you get into PayPal, you attach a bank account, you attach a credit card, you attach a debit card, whatever you want to do, you can do it. Some people who have merchant accounts, what they just do is they just deposit, let's just say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25,000, dollars in their PayPal account. And then that's what they use. They use that. So it's not really attached per se to an active credit card or something like that. But it would be as you just transfer that money over. But I don't suggest that unless you are trying to move and shake that way. If you want to do, remember we were saying in the Big Rich Live show that you should try to have your own business, your side hustle. So if you're trying to turn over things, or you trying to sell things, and yeah, you might want to have a merchant account where you deposit, a couple grand or something like that in there. So you never have to too much worry about, running out of money or anything like that. But once you do the PayPal and you're connected, and that has to be confirmed also, it's usually confirmed through your email address that you leave. Now you're ready to go. Now you're ready to go. Now you might say, okay, well, Rich, I followed that. I got my profile. I have my PayPal account. What do I do next? Well, what you do next is you open yourself up for the game. That's what I call it. I call it the game. You follow what I'm saying? Because now you open yourself up for anything and everything that you're trying to get on the internet. And you can sleep well at night knowing that, hey, I'm going to be all right and I'm going to find what I need to find. So now you had to break it up. There's 2 ways in eBay to get what you want to get. First way is what they call buy it now, as you can see on the screen. Buy it now basically is I need something. Okay, I'm looking for some new glass for my camera. Okay. I broke my glass. I got something going on in a week and I need some glass, but I don't want to pay $600. I want to go to Best Buy, or I don't want to go to H Gregg or some type of photo hobby shop and buy glass and spend $600. I just don't have that type of bread, or maybe I just don't want to spend that type of bread at this particular moment. Well, you go on eBay, you put in what you want, and then you look and you find out which sellers have what you're looking for, and then you find the cheapest price, and then you buy it. You hit buy it now, you pay for it. Usually it is shipped the next day. Or if you, I've had times where I've gotten up in the morning and I've ordered something like at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and usually by close of business that day, they have shipped it out, or at least click the button that says it was shipped, and usually it gets shipped out the next day. The second type is what I use, is the bid process. Now I know a lot of people tell me, Rich, I don't want to do that. I don't have time to sit around and look at my computer for 6 days. Some of these things, last up to 8 days, depending on what type of thing you're trying to sell. Some things that are repeated, they'll be on there for 30 days. So I don't have 30 days. I don't have 6 days that I could sit in front of my computer. I got other thing to do. Well, what I tell them is, you don't have to sit in front of your computer. You don't have to sit and stare at your smartphone. What you do is you hit the bottom button that says watch. What that does is that moves that particular item over to your wish list. It says watching. And what it'll do is it will give you 2, sometimes 3, depending on how you set it up, but it'll give you normally 2 notifications that'll let you know that particular item is ready, is getting close to the end of the bid process. Usually it'll hit you when it comes within 24 hours. It'll hit you first and let you know, hey, this is ended soon. Then you'll look and you see sometimes it ranges between, like I said, 23 hours to 18 hours, depending on when you check it. Then it usually hits you somewhere within the hour of the end of the bid process. That's when you sit around and the rubber hits the road. When you sitting around saying, okay, now it's time for me to bid the process. If it sounds like I'm excited, because this to me is the excited thing. I don't bid on things when it's 6 days, 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, half a day. I don't bid at all. The only time that I've ever done that, and what I suggest you do, is if you're not going to be around. Let's just say you're going on a cruise, but you see something that you want and it ends while you're on the cruise. So you're not too sure that you'll be able to get online. So what you do is, in that case, you roll the dice. What you do is you bid the highest of what you willing to pay. And then you let the chips fall where they may. But what I suggest people do is wait for that half hour, 15 minutes, 10 minutes to go. Don't bid yet. Don't bid yet. Just bring it up on your phone or on your computer, and then you wait. You wait until it gets under a minute. Now what you do is you say, okay, you hit the place to bid button. You enter the highest amount that you're willing to pay. You still don't hit confirmed, because you have to think about it. You have millions of people who use eBay every day. Millions of people. So they're doing, not all of them, but a large portion of them who are well versed in the bidding process are doing the same thing. So they're sitting around and they're jockeying for position. So what they do is you bring it up, you put the highest amount in there, and then you wait. And what I do is, and I didn't develop this, I learned it from other seasoned eBay people. What I suggest you do is, soon as it gets under 10 seconds, you hit the place to bid. You hit the place to bid because this is what is coming in. This is coming in because it's within 10 seconds and you know how much you're willing to pay, the highest that you're willing to pay. 2, you don't know if somebody is in their basement where they have a weak signal, they on a laptop and the laptop dies, their cell phone dies, or like has happened to me on many of occasions, you getting ready, you wait, and then you get a phone call on your smartphone, and you miss out. So what I do is, because I've been doing this all close to 10 years, is I'll have either two phones with it up, or I have a tablet and a phone, or I have a computer and a tablet, whatever. I'll have two redundant systems up just in case something happens with one. I still have it on the other. And then you move forward. And once you do that, I would say 90% of the time I have won what I have. I would say 2% of the time that somebody came in right after me and went higher than me. Because what you gotta think about is this: you got 10 seconds. So let's just say you want to buy some glass. We just said some glass, and you know that you want to spend no more than $100 on it. So it's 10 seconds. Let's say the bid is at $56. 10 seconds left. $56. I say, okay, the highest I want to pay is $100. So within 10 seconds, it jumped not to $100. What it does is it'll jump to the highest of whatever person put down the high. So let's just say it's $56. A person who's not there, maybe they're on that cruise, they put down that they're willing to pay $75. That's the highest they put in. Well, within 10 seconds, you put the $100 in. Then what it'll do is it will jump. The bidding price will jump $1 higher than the highest bid. So yeah, I put $100 in, but the highest bid is $75. So I wind up winning and buying that particular item for $76. I hope I hope I'm not confusing you, but it's going to take some time for you to understand and sort of get the algorithms within yourself and know, okay, this is what this is going for. And this is what I want to pay for it. But I have to control myself not to, sometimes I'll see something that I want, and I know that I want to spend, we going back to the 100, I want to spend $100 for it. And right now it's $36. Within the countdown of that hour, because like I say, usually an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, I actually pull it up. Okay. Within that time, 36, 38, 45, 50, 58, that type of stuff. And then and you trying to control yourself and reel yourself in not to get into the bidding process, because that's what the seller wants. The sellers want a bidding war. That's what they want. It's just like a car auction. That's what it is. It is an auction. The only thing is you don't have an auctioneer, and it's on the internet, and it's not in some warehouse or some field. It's the same thing. What you do is you sit back and you let what I call the suckers go by, blow they wad, and then you come in and swoop it up. I think maybe in 8 years, 9 years, I've had maybe 5 people swoop in and do what I do to other people to me. And it's funny to me. Yeah, it gets pissed off. And, you get pissed off and stuff like that, but it's a game. When you dealing with stupid bidders, and I call them stupid because that's what it is. Why are you bidding on something when it's 6 days? Why are you putting your highest, not the highest bid, because I've already explained, the highest bid, if you're not going to be there, if you're not going to be around, then, you could sort of understand that. But I'm talking about the bidders that start bidding on something in day 6. Why? You don't have to do that. What you do is you move it and you hit the watch button and you move it so that everybody will pretty much be insured to get the cheapest price, because you don't have fools bidding up the price at 6 days, at 5 days, at 4 days. It's ridiculous. Unfortunately, you're going to get those type of people who don't really understand the game. That's another reason why I'm doing this particular show, because you just hope that some people who are listening, some people who are looking and watching, will realize, oh, shoot, I'm that type of person that Rich was talking about. Maybe I need to do what he said, and then we all can win. Well, I can't say we all can win, because the buyer's not going to win because they're not going to get to the biggest price. Now, there is a caveat to that. Some people will put stuff on eBay and they'll put a reserve on it. Now, you might say, well, what is a reserve? A reserve is the cheapest price or the lowest price that the seller will allow this item. So sometimes you come on an item and then you look down the bidding process, you'd be like, wow, it's a PS4. It's only $59. And it's like an hour and a half to go. Shoot, I'm going to jump on this. But on the bottom of the bid, in bold red letters, it says reserve not met. What that means is the reserve, like I said, the lowest or the cheapest price that the seller is allowing this item to be sold at has not been met. So it don't make a difference if you win the bid. Let's just say it was $56, you put in 75, and at the end of the countdown, it says you are the highest bidder. So you might think that, hey, I got me a brand new or used, fairly used PS4 or Xbox One or a Canon or whatever it might be for $79. No, you actually didn't, because the reserve is not met. And then what will happen is it will start all over again. So that's the caveat as far as that. When you're looking for things, try not to buy the first thing that you see. That is something that I had to really, really learn. I have one of my boys, one of my best friends. Whenever I buy something, or in the past, whenever I would buy something, I would show it to him, and let's just say I paid $100. He would find that same or similar item for $75, for $80. You might ask, how does that happen? What am I doing wrong? Well, what you're doing is wrong is, or what I was doing wrong was, as soon as I saw something, again, let's just use the PlayStation 4. I see the PlayStation 4 is cheaper than it would be if I get it brand new. Let's just say with a controller, with a terabyte hard drive, with a it's like a bundle pack. If you go to GameStop or Walmart or Best Buy, let's just say it was $3.99 with all of that. Well, I go on eBay and I find similar, really not going to get that type of bundles, but I find similar to that. And let's just say for $100 cheaper. So I buy that. But what I failed to realize was, if I had kept looking down further in the listings, I would have found the same bundle that I paid $299 for $237. Or $258, or it's a bid process and there's no reserve on it. So what I suggest you do is, whenever you're trying to find, whether it is electronics to clothes to shoes, tennis shoes, sneakers, whatever, find about 4 or 5 of them that are in the same time period. What I usually do is, excuse me, to expand on that is, I usually find one buy it now item. Okay, we're looking at the PlayStation 4 now. We're just using that as an excuse. Not excuse, I'm using that as an example. I'll find, okay, I see this, it's buy it now, it's $2.99. Boom, I'll put that. I'll watch that. So if all my other bids go above that, then I'm not out. I can just go ahead on and buy it now and pay the $2.99. So what I suggest you do is, when you're trying to find something, try to find 3 or 4 that are similar. And I'm not talking about in price, I'm talking about in time. You don't want to get one that's done in an hour and a half and then 3 that are done 6 days from now. It really don't work. So get them all around the same thing. So basically what's happening is, they're coming in, they're falling like dominoes. So the first one, let's just say, is a day. The second one you find is a day and a half. The third one you find is a day and 3/4, this, that, and the third, all the way up in the stair steps. So as you're watching them, okay, the one that I found a day ago, that goes above my threshold. Okay, I can unfollow that. And then I have another one coming to the end of a bid in 2 hours. And then another one coming into the bid in 2.5 hours. So on and so forth. So you want to do that so you can make sure that A, you're covered because you have one that is in a buy it now status. And then you can possibly roll the dice in the bid process and get that same bundle for half, or let's just say 50, 20, 30% off, that type of stuff. So you definitely want to do that. Now you might say, okay, well, Rich, what else do I do? I just find what I want and then I start bidding on it. You could do that. But if you want to master this process, if you really want to master eBay, what you do is you look at the users, you look at the sellers, you find out about them. If you look at an advertisement, you look at whatever items, if you look within the box, it will show you, usually on the top of the first bid, it'll not the first, yeah, of the highest bid, it will show the user's name. Is usually in, depending on your background and your computer, it would usually be either in purple or gold or something like that, and it will have the username. That is the seller's name. So you double click on that, and then it will bring you to the seller's page. It will show their name. It will show their star pattern. Star patterns is how long they've been in business. To me, I don't fool with nobody under 100. Okay, you get your star pattern higher by the amount of stuff that you sell, the amount of stuff that you buy, and the amount of positive feedback you get. So like mine's is almost at 1,000. I've probably sold maybe 5 or 6 items, and in the whole 9 years that I've been I've gotten one negative review, one out of everything that I've sold, and that was because the monitor that I had sold was defective when I got it and really didn't understand it, that it was defective or why it was defective. And then I sold it for half of what I bought it from. And then when the new person got it, he was able to explain to me why it was. So I was like, well, send it back. Send it back and I'll credit your money back. But he didn't want to pay for the return shipping. So he just kept it and then gave me a negative review, told me that he couldn't give me a positive review. And I understood that, that was something that I bought. It didn't really work right for me. It worked, but it really didn't work right for me. So I wind up saying, you know what, instead of having a tower, because that's what I had. I had a tower computer that I was going to use 2 monitors for. So instead of doing that, what I wind up doing is saying, okay, well, fine. Instead of that, I'll just buy me 2 all-in-ones and don't have to worry about that. And that's why I had to ship that. So that's neither here nor there. That's on a little tangent. But you find out from them, some of these e-businesses are upwards to 20, 30, 40, 50,000 stars. Those are people who deal in volume. That's their business. That's their business. They are dealing with shipping in bulk every day, all day. Those are the people that you have the most trust in, the most confidence in. Now, have I made that mistake? Have I see something and then I'll hit it without checking out the buyer or checking out the fine print? Yes, and I've been burned a couple of times, but that's my fault. It's not the seller's fault. I still will give them a positive, especially if they tell me, especially if it's in the description, which we'll get to that in a few seconds. But you want to check that out. And not only do you want to check out and see what type of stars they got, but then you want to read their reviews. And the way it breaks it down is it says positive, neutral, and negative. Positive is self-explanatory. I had a great experience. I paid. It was shipped on time. The shipping might have been free. I got it within a couple of days. It works as advertised. I'm good to go. Love it. Negative is another self-explanatory. It didn't ship on time. The shipping was too high. Their communication sucked. When I got it, it was broken. It was more used than what they said. It wasn't exactly what they said. This, that, and the third. I had a horrible experience. Neutral is basically what it is neutral. Let's just say that you had, like I had something that happened about a month ago. I had a job. And I needed to use this new Manfrotto director. apparatus that I needed to use for this particular job. Well, I needed an adapter. So I ordered an adapter. There was no communication. It wasn't shipped right. It wind up getting held up. I wind up having to spend double the money that I would have spent in order to use this equipment on this job, and it was just a neutral experience. They tried to help me out, but they really couldn't help me out. So I gave a neutral experience, basically saying this is what happened. They couldn't make me whole, but they wasn't nasty about it, and it is what it is. So usually what I do is, if I see, let's just say, if you have, like me, I have like 500 positives, no neutrals, one negative, right? And the negatives usually stay about 9 months. You know, you can find them if you go back, but usually they on this particular shot, on this particular screenshot, you could only usually just see up to 9 months, you know, or 90 days, something like that. I can't really remember at this particular moment. But then you say, okay, fine. I will then read. They might have, like I said, 500, positive, no neutrals, 5 or 6 negatives. Then I'll read the negatives. I read the negative. The negatives say, it took too long to get there. Their communication sucked. I might still do business with them because you never know if the person was sick or whatever the deal is. But if you get to like this one we won't put on the screen where it's extremely negative. I mean, you have almost as many, if not more, negatives than positive. You need to stay away from that particular person. Stay away from that person. Make sure that you look at all of their reviews and make your own decision. Last thing I'll say about bidding is that you want to always make sure that you read everything. They have two boxes. A lot of people who have been doing and selling eBay for a while, what they'll do is they'll put it in a situation where they'll say, okay, in the description of the title, they'll say parts not working. Or they'll put in bold red letters, read the description, sold as is, that type of stuff right there. Usually I fool with them. Not that I'm going to buy that particular item because I'm not into fixing electronics and stuff like that, but I understand their honesty. Others will put it in the description. You have an item description and you have a equipment description. The item description usually is exactly what's wrong with it. They will put down, hey, there's a chip here, there's light scratches, there's a dent here, this button was knocked off, and then they'll put within the pictures where they'll show you a picture. If you have a cracked screen or a flat tire or whatever, they'll actually put that picture in there so you can actually see it. All the way in the bottom, it'll say something about it. So you have to make sure it'll say something either positive or negative about it if there's some issues. So you have to make sure that you look at that 100%, you read it all the way, then you go ahead on either buy it now or bid. So the do's and don'ts is, like I said, you don't sit around and buy the first thing that you see. You don't, or you should not, deal with somebody who has a lot of negative reviews, or somebody who's just starting out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I understand that we're supposed to give people the benefit of the doubt and stuff like this, but this is something that you're trying to get. You trying to get this item. So do you want to take that chance? You can, but I would say don't. That would be me, And then the do's, like I said, find your buy it here. Put that in your watch list, find a bunch of bids and stack them up so you can get the cheapest and the lowest price of any items that you want. I hope that this works for you, and I hope that you guys like this particular show. Big Rich here. Again, the name of the show is What's the Real Deal? Next week, we will be going over Amazon and Amazon Prime. Again, I hope that you enjoyed this show. Leave your comments down below. Like, subscribe, and share this video. Let me know if you liked it. Thumbs up if you liked it. Thumbs down if you didn't. Please, if you don't like it, tell me why you don't like it. If you do like it, tell me why you don't like it. We're going to have our own specific email addresses, but in the meantime, in between time, you can send us any emails at www. I'm sorry, not emails. You can go to our website at www.bigrichliveonthemic, and our email address is bigrichliveonthemic@gmail.com. So until next week, hope you get every deal that you're trying to put, and I hope you learn something from this particular show. Big Rich here. Peace, and I'm out.